Hey, welcome back everyone. It's your friendly neighborhood ninja. Just gonna go over a new product that I found. Well, I guess it's not necessarily that new, because it did come out in the year 2023, but I'm gonna showcase what this game is. This game is called The Last War by Will Rahman Daltrey. I guess that's some sort of English guy. This game takes place in like World War One. It's made by Wargames Atlantic, which is actually a really cool company. I found that they have some of the coolest miniatures on the market right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and get the lid off of this box now. Yeah. Now, I did take the rule book out, which it's a pretty good rule book. It's got a lot of neat, art and good scenarios. The character building in the game is actually really pretty phenomenal. Like the gear, like if you're somebody that struggles with character building, this is definitely a rule book for you, because there's a whole huge list of names for characters. This is not a paid promotion for this game, just so you know. I'm not getting paid or sponsored in any way, shape, or form to showcase this game. But I will say, after reading the rules and looking at what you get with the game, pretty good. I mean, I will say, after thinking about it, does seem a little pricey. I will leave a link in the description so that way you guys can go check out Wargames Atlantic. Like, they make some really good models. Like, here's a box of just like like it says, cannon fodder. Like, they're good models. And if you don't have the budget for Games Workshop, like, you can get a bunch of these guys and proxy whatever. Like, you can even get bugs. You can proxy whatever kind of army you want, and this is just what I got. They have a whole lot more than just this, but we're talking about The Last War today. Yeah, kind of a fun thing, and it comes with 4 of the World War One army sprues that they have. I think it's a French, a Russian, a German, and a British, which they got a bunch of cool bits on there. Like, you get your pouches, you get over a dozen different head options, different weapon options. Like, it's a good value to look into Wargames Atlantic. These are some of the, they're British. You can tell by the helmets. And World War One was pretty brutal. I mean, I haven't really played any World War One skirmish games, but if you wanted to make your own little group, here's a Russian sprue. And I guess this is the French guys. Yep. Sacre bleu. Those are the French. So, I mean, you can just kind of randomly make up your war bands for this game. And this is one of the enemy sprues. You can make these disgusting trench maggots, right? And these freakish trench rats. Blah. Probably, you can make some really freaky creatures out of this sprue. I don't know how well this is able to be seen. I know the camera got a little shaky there. But there's some neat head options. Like, well, this looks like a little gas mask hooded guy. He's got horns. That's cool. I like that. Options for mutated tentacle arms. And these are all things that you might have happen in the game. Like, your character might end up mutating and they have a disgusting tentacle arm. So you might want to take that into consideration in this game. It's a pretty good game. Now, in addition to all the sprues and stuff, you have these markers for Well, I guess if you drop your weapon, if you're poisoned, oh man, I hope I don't have to use the deceased markers or the dead markers. Oh man. I guess if it's for enemy models, it's fine. But they're double-sided, so that way you can pretty much mark everything for everyone on your game board. And it's a game where you have like a team of 5. And this rule book's pretty extensive. It's pretty good. Pretty easy to understand for anybody who's played a similar type of war game where you have your crew versus your friend. Everybody's got a certain points value, that type of deal. And this one's kind of fun to start out with, though I feel like it limits you with only like 50 points for your whole crew. And 50 points to buy your war gear, that's kind of expensive because just any kind of rifle. I mean, you're spending 50. What do they call them? It's some sort of starts with an R. Resources. Yeah, you get resources instead of gold, and resources. And your crew is a warband, basically. A manuscript is a scroll. And if anybody who's played what's it called? Morkbork. Anybody who's ever heard of that game will understand this setting very easily. And according to this, you can bring over your warband from the previous Forbidden Psalms games, which is kind of neat. Like linking your characters from a fantasy grouping into a more modern setting is a unique take on a game. And of course, you can always pick one specialist trooper to start. Later on in the game, after you complete a mission or two, you can actually pick up more of these special trooper attributes, which some of them are pretty cool. Like, to start with a flamethrower, you get a full fuel tank and ignore burning damage. And truth be told, this is a miniatures agnostic game, so if you don't want to buy the whole box set, like all of these other boxes behind here do not come with this one box. Those were individual purchases along periods of time. But if you have miniatures already, you can probably find a PDF. You probably don't need to buy the physical copy of this book. You can just buy the PDF, and there you go. Bing, bang, boom. If you already have miniatures, you already have terrain, you got a game going. And it's kind of fun to come up with characters that, you're not necessarily that attached to. Come up with some random names for 5 different characters. Then you got to roll for, you pick one of these special trooper traits, and then you assign some stats, which I don't know if I'm going to go over all of that because it's a lot. Download the PDF or buy the book. But one of the things that's neat is you roll to get flaws for your character, which can sometimes be a real problem, I guess, in the battle. And you also get feats, which is really neat, because then you can actually be like cooler in battle. Like, these are good things to have. Like iron lungs, you're immune to gas and smoke. That's a good trait. Light-footed, you don't get stuck in the mud. These are all really good ideas. And like the weapons table, like you can probably take these rules and use them in other games as well. Like, I'm not saying you just have to play this game strictly. You can use your Space Marines or your Orcs or whatever you want and just come up with your own story as to why they're there in this horror-filled trenches. And like, there's everything here, like the entrenchment tools, like all the stuff that you need to run a fun skirmish game that's also a narrative game. Because every one of these missions at the back here, like, I'll go over the bad guys in a minute, but you have all these scenarios in order to basically get your crew cooler gear, and some of the scenarios sound pretty fun. Like if you're having a hard time coming up with games for your group, this is a good resource. And I think that it's worth the price, especially if you and your friends want to get together and kind of just come up with a new thing. It comes with 4 sprues. There's enough models in this box for you and your friends to come up with whatever characters that you want to fight disgusting freaks. So I'm just going to quickly go over some of these bad guys here. Like, these are really easy to make if you don't have them. Like, you could just use a lump of clay and a skull from any miniature that you have an extra skull from, or the skulls that you can find, like gas bug, trench rat, haunted tank. Now that's a fun enemy. Like, I think I already have something I can use for that. You know, a living gas cloud. I mean, heck, take a cotton ball, paint it green, and there you go. You got a living gas cloud. These, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this weird, I'm going to guess Danish word or something like that. I don't know. But this looks like a werewolf, man. Almost everybody that's got other miniatures has some sort of wolf around. I mean, even if you're a Space Wolf player, you've probably got a wolf kind of like this one sitting around somewhere. You can use this guy. Look, it's almost the same pose. Rah! There you go. A thing from the fog. It looks like you could probably use some pipe cleaners and a bendy straw. Maybe a bit of foam. Some string. You could probably make that creature. And whatever this is, the pathetic, this is, you know, I was told this had better art in it, but I don't know if I necessarily believe that the art's that great. No offense to the artists. I think that you guys could have stepped it up a little. Like, that's just a vampire. That's a Nosferatu. And you got like a giant angel. That's a pretty biblical looking angel. That's pretty neat. That's a cool enemy to have to fight. Like, oh my god, what is that thing? You know, and then you got these zealots of war who basically are just really insane fighters. And then you got other like dog monsters, barbed wire beast. I don't know what that word is. Yeah, no, a hound of something. You can come up with whatever pronunciation you want for that. But the table's pretty good. You know, you just roll like a d20 to find out what kind of monsters you're fighting, unless it's like these two, because these are scenarios. But, you know, it's pretty neat. Pretty neat game, gotta say. And, you know, you got characters in-game that you will interact with. And that's where it may be good to have like a DM. It's even got a map of the area. You can pause to take a better look. This is pretty neat. You got the fog. That's what you got to escape, because this is a decimated wasteland. Pretty much everybody that is in this scenario, it's basically like they're coming out of a mist and they're like, what the heck has happened? Is the war still going on? Is the war over? I mean, I don't want to give too many spoilers by reading a whole bunch of the details, because truth be told, there's not as much lore in this book as I thought there would be. And to be honest, for some reason, I thought this had something to do with Trench Crusade. Don't ask me why. It's got nothing to do with Trench Crusade. Nothing at all. Which is a completely different game, completely different scenario, other than it takes place in trenches. Don't ask me why I thought these two were related. But they're not. But I'll say it's still a good game system, and I'd say it's still worth a check out for anybody who is big on skirmish wargaming, with basically coming up with their own characters. And, you know, with the rules being the way they are, I'd say you could come up with your own names if you already have cooler names than what you can find in this list of 200 different names, which some of them are pretty funny, like fish. I mean, you could end up with a character named Fish the Tommy. That would be a pretty. If anybody who understands World War One history, that would be a funny name. But I'd say check this game out, and definitely check out Wargames Atlantic, just because their value is phenomenal for what you get. You get some really cool miniatures with some really good options, and I'm not just talking about their, you know, like World War One miniatures. They got some really good ranges. If you want fantasy, they got knights, they got goblins and skeletons. I actually want to pick up a set of their skeletons because those skeletons look pretty cool. They're very bare bones skeletons. That's what you kind of want sometimes. You just want some plain skeletons. But I'm going to be wrapping this video up here shortly. Just, you know, wanted to go over some of the cool things here. I know it's been a long bit for making videos, but, you know, extenuating circumstance be what it is. And I'm going to be coming up with some more crafting ideas here, because I got some foam to make these trenches out of, and I think they're going to turn out pretty neat by the end of it. Also, I've got some cool stuff to show. I've been working on some stuff off screen. I've got a orc truck that I've been working on for a while now, just because it's been taking me a long time to kind of find all the right bits. And yeah, it's been sitting on the shelf for a while. It is kind of dusty. It's a little gross, but it's a pretty good project, and I think it's going to be pretty neat. Got a gunner that sits right here in the back. If you see right there, just now. So all the characters are actually removable for this wagon. We got this guy who's the driver. He's also going to be loading one of these torpedoes in there. We got some little grots that are actually magnetized so that they can just boom right there on the vehicle. Wow, that's pretty neat. See, look at that little grot just tinkering away to fix the vehicle for the driver there. And I might put another magnet on his other foot just to make it more a little more stable there. But there's some of the cool things that are up and coming here. And oh, I forgot to mention, this box does come with a colorful set of dice. You got everything you need for the whole game there. Oops. But anyway, that's about it for now. I hope everyone out there is doing well, especially you, my kids, because y'all are my main audience. I love you, little ones. Make sure y'all get some supper, and don't stay up too late watching YouTube videos. All right. Love yous. I'll see you later. Good night.